What is up, everybody? Welcome to Truth or Transparency. It is a Friday night. Let's do this. The jurors have spoken. Karen Reed case. The jurors have spoken. Let's go like this. Again, hello. Welcome. SJ, new member, welcome. T. Roy, welcome. New member. W. Ross, welcome. BMB Fallen Angel, new welcome, new member. Yes, Alessi and Yanetti. Yeah, they were interviewed tonight. And it's bomb, and we'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. We're really close to raising enough money to give and to get the transcripts in the Delphi murder case for Richard Allen. So that also needs our attention. I wanted to give a heads up to everybody about that. So hello to everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Yeah. Well, let's see how I want to do this. First of all, I got a pink little free Karen Reed pink. I don't even know what these things are called. I just call it a fan. Why are people giving my girl Paula, bitch named Paula, used to be a baller? Why are people giving her a hard time? The fuck? You will fight me before you get to my girl Paula. She's got 4 kids. Why you leave her alone? These jurors wanted to speak out. They clearly had something to say. Like, let them speak out. Let's talk about it. Come on in. Here we go. Alessi's daughter was on Jimmy's show this morning. They produced some good-looking kids. At least one good-looking kid. I haven't seen the other one, but she's pretty good-looking. What in the what, Sherry? What in the what? What in the what? Yeah. All right. I think we can begin. All right, let's do this. Come on in. Money's already been raised tonight on Nick. Awesome. It's just never enough to be raised, right? You know how much money was raised for Karen Reed? Over $1 million, baby. So raise your money. Raise your dollars. Money's already been raised. Okay. I bet you Richard Allen could use some money. Yeah. Here we go. Let's take a look. People need to back off my girl Paula is all I know. I'm not even gonna give. There's like so much going on. Oh yeah.
And that's why we're here, because the criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Reed trial sitting down.
Who calls people key players in the game? Like, who calls people key players in the game? Like, if we were to call people key players in the game, do you want to know how much blowback I would get if I said, like, key players in the game? Trust me, I've said it before. Lana, this isn't a ball game. Key players. I love how mainstream media is, like, literally taking over the lingo that we've been using. In the red corner, weighing in at $150, soaking wet. Big smoking titties. Nicole Albert. In the blue corner, coming in at $1.49. No titties, McCabe.
For an exclusive interview, his friend Jennifer McCabe and her husband Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife Nicole, and his brother Chris Albert, all five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do.
You weren't a witness to motherfucking shit. You weren't even there. What were you a witness? Like, I was at the waterfall bar. Like, how are you even going to say that you're a witness? Like, you weren't interviewed till when? Like, we were just witnesses. What?
Do it. We did the civic duty.
What's civic duty?
Came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Reed!
Duty.
Look at
Came
this.
and told the truth, and that's it.
Look at that. Prosecution witness. Bitch, he wasn't a prosecution witness. If you were to see this interview, you would think that these people testified in 2.0. These people did not testify in 2.0. The only person that testified in 2.0 was Jennifer McCabe. Okay. Look at how quick, though, this gets on and off the screen. Watch. Ready?
Nothing to do with
Okay,
We
they
did
did show
the
him.
civic duty.
Watch.
Came and told the truth, and that's it.
I mean, like, dude, I didn't make like that. Literally, it was like, it wasn't sped up. It was on the screen for a second. Isn't that wild? I was at a party tonight, hence my free Karen Reed colors. This was mine. We had a free Karen Reed party, hence my pink fan here. And you know, there's just so many people out there that watch this shit and they're like, we're starting to realize that we can't rely on like this news. Like, when I have like a 72-year-old woman who's cool as shit say to me, oh my God, you have a YouTube channel? Like, I want to watch, like, oh my God, we go on YouTube. Like, she's like, I'm so glad that you're all about the Constitution. Like, that's amazing. Because I'm like, hey, like, I believe everybody is innocent until proven guilty, because and she's like, those are our rights. And I was like, see, you get it. And I'm not gonna push like this, like, let's fucking blow his kneecaps and blow his heart away. But when I have 72-year-old people who look like they're 53, by the way, say that they can't trust this, they're like, oh, this is what I got my stuff from, you know? It's bad. Like, when you have 72-year-olds that are going to YouTube, like, dude, they're not supposed to be like hip with YouTube, you know what I mean? And I just love it. Like, I love that, dude, even it's not just the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. Everybody is moving elsewhere to get their news. And it's just, it's awesome.
Karen Reed!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Reed, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most...
Look at how she was shaking.
Not guilty.
And look at
leaving
Paul.
him
Like,
to
Paul,
die
you knew
in
that
a
was
blizzard.
coming.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious
Paul's like, fuck, man, I'm gonna get paid.
charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Reed's favorite.
They say hundreds. Why wouldn't you say thousands? It's thousands. The police said it was 3,000 people down there. ABC says, Nightline, whatever the fuck this shit is. Hundreds. Bitch, you were there. You know it's more than hundreds. Like, right there, that's 100.
Color cheering as the verdict came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like some days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts.
Yeah, I know you're talking about me. We're tailgating for the truth, motherfucker. What, like, is that a bad thing? If we're tailgating for the truth, you guys tailgate over New England Patriot football games. Okay. What bigger stage and what bigger like tailgating for someone's life? What do you think's more? Tom Brady throws fucking 500 yards or a human being doesn't lose her life due to fuckerage. And to hear that though, I was just like so proud because hell yeah, we're tailgating. Fuck yeah, we're tailgating. This is what you should tailgate for. Not a bunch of overpaid motherfuckers. And trust me, I'm an athlete. Not a bunch of overpaid people. Like tailgate for this. Like this, being a part of this, man, this is awesome. So it's
This is a guy that was murdered, and it's atrocious for that family.
While the prosecutors blamed Reed for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night. Ever since, their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people. We're almost like caricatures. We're pawns.
Caricatures. And this guy just like, he acts like he's like your best friend. Look at it. He acts like he's your best friend. Everybody he interviews to like act like he like, dude, this man is doing a job. He does not give a fuck about you. He's doing a job. It's like when I had my trivia company and I hired people because I knew that they would do a good job, not because they were fucking awesome people. Hey, you have a really good mic voice. Let's talk. Hey, what do you do for a living? Are you looking for a part-time job? These people don't care.
Each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
I paused it perfectly. That's not true at all. Anybody that's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point. What a gaslighting motherfucker, man. Why don't you take a hot dog and let's stuff it? Why don't you go ahead and, I don't know. How about you Google house long to die? How about you Google that? How do you, as a man, let your wife take the fucking blame for your ass? I love it. I love it. And I hope Karen Reed is ready, prepared for the civil case because she's going to need that data that I bumped out. And
anyone who's friends with us support cop killers.
Yeah, absolutely.
3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Reed captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
How about talk about some stalkers? How do you know where she's staying? Fucking stalkers. Karen Reed's with her attorney. Yeah, look at you guys, thirsty bitches. Leave her alone.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed.
So these people were so ready, like, hey, after the verdict, we'll talk to you the next day. Because she's saying, like, after what happened yesterday, okay? Like,
changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
because you wouldn't leave us alone.
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
You know what's crazy is that we have no idea if that was the answer to the question. Okay? Like, let's take a look at what like editing does. All right? Let's take a look. Ready?
John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took.
You guys see that? Look at that. That's the question, right? And then boom, different camera angle. And then we're just going to have him saying, we thought we took what was the high road, right? How How do we know that that was the answer to the question? Well, you don't. And that's just ABC, and they just can't even conduct, it's 2025, and you can't conduct a live, unedited interview. It's 2025. Okay. Like, we're the ones that are supposed to have like no education, not know how to speak, talk, conduct ourselves in an interview, and we're willing to have live interviews, put them out here, nothing scripted. Here we go. And the people that supposedly have these degrees in communications, in whatever it is that they went and got their degree for this, yeah, puppies.
What we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Reed and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says,
why don't you let them say that part? How do we even know that's true? Like, they should be telling that story if that's truly what happened. These softball questions are just, they're just that. They're softball questions. Awesome.
neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the...
Why are you saying those things? And these people that you actually have here, why aren't they saying that? Why aren't you asking them to tell, hey, so here's, you guys about to leave the waterfall bar. Here you guys are like hugging each other, or are you guys fighting each other? Are you putting your dick in his ass? Like, why aren't you letting them tell the story? Okay. If we calculate the amount of minutes or seconds that they're actually speaking, it is literally like 1/50th of what's on the screen.
Snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at...
What do you mean the defense's theory? The defense doesn't need a theory. How about the Commonwealth's theory that wasn't able to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt because these people destroyed their phones? These people were not cooperating witnesses. These people, okay, here, you want my phone? What else do you want? We have nothing to hide. Here you go. Why aren't you asking them that? Oh, did they tell you that's off limits? If you don't want to be drug in and you want things to be transparent, you want the jury to fucking nail this woman, Karen Reed, at the fucking table, right? Then why weren't you cooperating prosecution witnesses? You guys destroyed your phones. And you guys, guess what? Could have been like, no, here, put it in a subpoena for my Google shit. You can get stuff from the cloud. You can get my emails. You can get my location data off of Google. That's what, why are you fighting it?
At the Alberts' home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
How would you know when he says never know? How do you know? I would be like, I have no idea if John came in my house. I can tell you that I didn't see John in my house. Never know. That's not a normal answer to that. That's not a normal answer to that question. Or normal to me, I have nothing to hide answer would be, if John came in my house, I never saw him. Because it wouldn't be about helping the prosecution and their theory. It would be this: if John came in my house, I never saw him. Oh my God. Like, that's how you would answer that. It's, you don't say, no, never. How do you know that, motherfucker? You don't know that. Were you standing by the door and taking IDs and checking fucking and giving wristbands out, bro? No, never. How do you know? And then he should have been like, how do you know if he came in your house? There was a bunch of people there, right? Look at these pussy ass fucking interviewers, man. This is why mainstream media, I'm telling you, we're going to take it down. It's going to happen. This shit, like, I would, like, how do you not follow that up with, well, how do you know if he came into your house or not? Were you at the door the whole time? Aren't there like multiple entrances?
Right?
Never.
These are
And all of them never came in the house. How do you know? Well, we went around and we asked everybody. Like, he just accepts it. You know what he reminds me of? A guardian ad litem. He must be a guardian ad litem on the side. Oh, somebody says to me, okay, sounds good. Nothing to see here. I don't have to vet that shit. How do you know he didn't come in your house?
people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
Well, how about this? Why wouldn't it just be, who gives a fuck if it's people in our community that believe it or people in other communities that believe it? If people believe it, why can't it just be a question of, why would people believe this? Because we have to inhale drama, man. Just like people in Moscow, Idaho, people in Canton. What a fucking dumb ass questions. Period. Is why would people ever believe this? Why are people supporting Karen Reed? Let's hear what the answer is.
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people.
Okay. Tell me why it would take 30 to 50 people. Because it would not. Because I can tell you exactly how this would play out, that it would not take 30 to 50 people. It would take the people in the house, and it wouldn't even take the people in the house. It would be a couple people in the house making sure that the other people in the house left. Okay? Then it would take somebody going to the Canton Police Department to grab whatever the fuck they decided to grab. Then it would take a couple people to be able to carry John O'Keefe's body to the front of the lawn. Then, okay, it would take somebody to say, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. The more people that know about something, that's how it falls apart. And then we just need to use somebody. Okay? Because this dude isn't going to question shit. Proctor ain't going to question shit. Because everybody's on that dick that Proctor planted everything. I'm on that dick that Proctor covered for these fucking fools. Okay? Because so many things happened before Proctor got his fat ass out of bed. Okay? And it would not take 30 to 50 people to pull this off. Okay? Everything was after the fact. After the fact. It just required a couple people to be, But I'm so glad the jurors looked at the video and Hank paused it perfectly. What a dumbass. And said, you see that tail light when it was leaving at 5:07? And yeah, it's red. It's not like, you know what a padiddle looks like? That shit should have been black. Black, everything over there. That shit was red. And those fucking people caught on to that. And I just love it.
You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner.
Wait, right there, the medical examiner. How could the medical examiner be in on it? She's over here saying, I can't even label it a fucking... Listen to him trying to gaslight. No, actually, the medical examiner wasn't in on it, and that's why she didn't say that it was a homicide. You fucking bald freak. Okay? But do you see how they're lying? The medical examiner wasn't in on shit. And that's actually why you didn't get a conviction. Because your own medical examiner couldn't label it a homicide. She couldn't. It was undetermined. And then here's this fool that's doing the interview not to stop and say, listen, I'm not going to let you go tell America these answers. But that's ABC. No integrity, baby. ABC stands for what? Absolutely bullshit commentary. Fuck you. absolute bullshit commentary. Okay? That's what it stands for to me. I would never, and I've done it before, where I cut people off. I don't let people come on my panel. And when I see that they're lying or that no, I didn't vet what you're saying here. You're not fucking saying this shit on my channel. Get the fuck out of here. No. I'm not that person that's going to say, oh, my opinions are not theirs. And that's not opinions. This person is not going to come on my channel and lie. I'm not going to produce stuff to the masses that I didn't vet. ABC didn't vet this shit. But if you would have watched the trial, you wouldn't need to vet it. You would know it. That is not true. Fuck ABC.
Firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert said,
Great question. I don't understand how people bought this. Listen, why aren't you just saying things like, their job is to create reasonable doubt. All right. The detectives, the investigation, that's on them. It wasn't good. So of course their lawyers are going to create reasonable doubt. I wish the Massachusetts State Police would have done a better job. We wouldn't have been harassed. If they would have asked us for these things, we could have provided them with these things so that they could actually win their case, if they believe that this is who did it. We don't know anything. We were inside a house. I didn't see John. You'd have to ask them if they saw John. I don't know anything. All I know is I wake up and a cop is coming into my house, asking me these questions. That's how this would be. The defensiveness, hey, you're going to have to take it up with the Canton Police Department. You're going to have to take it up with the Massachusetts State Police. I mean, if they wanted to come into my house, they could have got search warrants. If they wanted to come into my house, they could have asked me. I would have let them in. They never asked to look through anything. The Alberts thinking that this is against them versus the jurors are saying the cops that were supposed to investigate this didn't do their job. Our scope is the size of a John DePepe hole, and we don't have the information. We can't convict her. It doesn't matter what the defense is saying. Their job is to create reasonable doubt, right? If the Commonwealth would have done a more thorough investigation, then they could have won their case. But them coming out and acting like this, like it's them. If it ain't Karen Reed, then it has to be us. Why would you ever defend it that way? Why would you ever say it like that? Why wouldn't you just say, like, I understand they have to have, like, they're defending a woman, so they're going to create reasonable doubt any way that they can. That's how you would be. And you would be saying things like, we offered them to come in the house. We said, oh my God, I don't think he came in here. I can't believe that he's on the lawn. I'm totally confused. Here, what do you need? Should we come down to the station? That's what you would be saying. And that's just not what's being said. And so when people would be like hearing this and not even knowing this case, people should be wondering, who are these people, right? Because if you just watch trial 2, none of these people were brought to the stand. So for ABC to come out here and say these are prosecution witnesses, they were not prosecution witnesses. This is trial 2.0. And for people that were following this case, I would be like, these weren't prosecution witnesses. Oh, they were in trial 1? Well, then maybe they should have came out and talked after trial 1. But they were not witnesses in trial 2. Okay? And ABC should be ashamed of themselves for even conducting this fucking interview.
Says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers.
Look at
EMTs
these
on your
leading
front lawn.
questions.
You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
Wait, why would you say, why wouldn't you go outside and investigate? Why would you say the word investigate? Who says that to to think about if this was just any other human being? Why didn't you go outside and investigate? What is wrong with this man? This is the most disturbing question, I think, of the night of this interview. Why didn't you go out there and investigate? And no wonder why he gave you the answer that I'm not a Canton cop. I'm a Boston cop. I can't this isn't my jurisdiction, you fucking idiot. I bet you this is when he say, why didn't you go out there and investigate? No, how would you ask this of a civilian? Did you not hear all the you're like, Jen called you how many times? Then you guys talked at 5:07 for 36 seconds. Fuck this man. You are shit. ABC is shit.
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out.
What, from banging your wife and butt dialing at 2:30 in the morning? A cold sleep? Why were you cold? Were you outside? I woke up from a cold sleep because I was just outside running around getting John out on the fucking front lawn. You cold sleep? Who says I just woke up from a cold sleep? Who uses the word cold? Fuck this fat fuck.
The night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Over the course of the night,
But do you see the way the question was posed so that he could answer it that way? No shit, you can answer it that way. We're not asking you to go investigate. We're asking you to go help him. Like, provide CPR. But you guys, I can't even blame the Alberts for that answer. That question was so fucking ridiculous. And he says he's got a journalist degree or whatever the fuck he's rocking. What a horrible question. Why didn't you go out there and investigate? Excuse me? Nobody would have ever been asked that. Like, if you're just, think about this person as not a cop. Think about this person as, this is all on your yard, and we found out that you're a nurse or a doctor. Why didn't you go out there and help? Render aid.
Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find.
Somebody asked me about that. Well, who would call somebody 52 times? I said, how does that? You think a guilty person does that? Who, like, yeah, let me motherfuck you on the phone after I just ran you over, motherfucker. Yep. Because you know what's funny is that you got people that are saying, yeah, but if you call and you say, oh, hi, honey, go pick up the flowers, I'll be right home, you're a murderer. If you say, fuck you, I fucking hate you, bastard, you're a murderer. Wait, what? Why? Which one's which? I mean, fuck out of here. So
Find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Previously telling you because she wouldn't talk to you again, and she will never talk to you again. And if she does talk to you again, it's probably to say fuck you and suck my titties.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
Would never.
Not to try to kill him, but try to
Tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size.
Wait, how come he's cutting her off? And how come these don't seem like they're cut, copied, and pasted? This guy, I hope he loses his job. I don't think, I mean, what is it, a plastic Ken doll? Like, fuck this asshole. Like, I just love that that none of the lawyers went and talked to the mainstream media. I'm only on here sis, so I can rub that in their faces.
SUV to hit John's body with my car. No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
There's a man. Remember, do not say that he's a Boston cop. Do not say shit.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the
And you guys know that I believe that Matt McCabe made that.
cold. The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also hoping to clear up
Oh, look at that doggy.
rumors regarding the Albert's dog, Chloe, who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them. If that is true, then I think the defense should come out and own that. And the defense should say, yeah, but we didn't want to go and get Chloe because it was part of our defense not to go and get. I'm just curious if Matt McCabe's telling the truth there. They've known where Chloe's been for 2 years. That would mean that they knew where Chloe was before the other trial. Okay? So can one of these lawyers come out and call that fat fuck out? Okay? I want one of the defense personnel to come out and say that Matt McCabe is full of shit. We did not know, okay, where it was. Call that shit out. Because I think that would, I mean, do you understand that Matt McCabe, by him saying that, that's why say that? We got some civil cases coming up, you know? I wouldn't subject myself to that. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Granted, trust me, these people are liars, okay? But to go out of your way and lie right now, that's some fucking, that's some brass balls. So should we blame ABC for not vetting that statement and letting them say that? I mean,
take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind,
is it absolutely? And then look at how quick they just got off that topic. Look at that. Watch this.
Shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched.
Absolutely.
but now with the trial behind them, they say
Why wouldn't you ask them, why did you rehome the dog? Why could you ask that? Did they tell you that was off limits? I mean, talk about the questions that were asked. What softball pussy ass shit, you know? Don't you guys feel robbed? Same thing with that fat fucking Proctor dude. You had him on there advertising, oh, this exclusive. Dude, he talked for 4 minutes total. And then you got these fucking clowns. And they talk for what? And ask, Jen McCabe says 6 words total. Matt McCabe says maybe 10 words total. Nicole says same thing, maybe 10 words. Chris in the caricatures, maybe 6 words. And you guys are just like, it's all about the money. Let me just say, if you got these, all these people are lawyered up. All these people are lawyered up. That's how I know for a fact that they had editing rights and like they would have had to see final edits. All right. There's just no way that they're going to give final edits to them when you have lawyers. I mean, why would a lawyer be like, dude, it's not worth it. You're not getting paid. Why do you fucking even care about? You don't need to do any of this shit. My recommendation to you is not to say a fucking word. So I don't know. Why do they feel like it's either Karen Reed or it's them? Why couldn't John have, I don't know, walked and slipped and fell and hit the berm himself? And that's and he's out. You know, why couldn't John have maybe walked up, decided he was gonna come, then decided, okay, you know what, I don't want to, and turn around, walk back, and then saw somebody else and got into their car and went and hung out with them, and something happened. I mean, it's everybody says this is about money. I'm telling you, ABCs can't pay for this shit. They're not paying for this. But for them to feel the need to come out and say all of this, and they weren't even involved in trial 2.0, and for ABC to allow it and to even like think that that's like worthy of like going, like there were so many other people involved in trial 2.0. Why don't you go and interview Hank Brennan? Why don't you sit down with Hank Brennan and ask him why he lied to the jury and said that the hoodie sweatshirt had holes in the back from January 29th when it didn't? How about that? Don't you think that would be way more of like a go get them? Instead, ABC decides to lie to America. Moving on, fuck these people. Juror 17, we got the questions that John DePepe tried to erase. Put my slippers on over here. Okay. Lana, have I told you lately that I love you? Actually, I'm making a new closing for my all my lives here. My lives, I have a new closing, and my lives are going to have this song as my closing song, in case you guys cared.
Only fools rush in.
Only fools rush in. Innocent until proven guilty, bitches. Yeah, so I'm working on a piece. How you like me now? Yeah. One of my favorite Elvis songs. So Juror 17, he was an alternate. Interview with Johnson DePepe. Okay. I was not a deliberating juror, so I can't speak to what the 12 deliberating jurors were told. As far as being an alternate, I have to confess to being very let down when Jim called my number. He called 3 other numbers before 17. I thought I was going to get through, but what can you do? It's the luck of the draw. 6 of us had to be alternates. How would you have voted? I would have voted not guilty. This is Juror 17. This was like the big question mark. This was like the person I think that took a bunch of notes, right? Juror 17 says, I would have voted not guilty for all charges except maybe the OUI. I think she was drunk in the morning. They tested her in the morning, but that doesn't prove that she was drunk when she left the bar, because she could have easily gone home and drank. Question is how was Hank Brennan? Hank was very focused, very determined. He did a great job at crossing Sergeant Barrows. He definitely tripped him up and got him confused on the pictures. But at times, Hank came across as just rude. Saying, quote unquote, over here to witnesses was way over the line. And the thing with the holes in the back of the hoodie, that really hurt his credibility. Yeah, this juror had five notebooks, man. Guess how many notebooks I had? $11, $12, $13, $14, $15, $16. 16 bitches. But then again, we're anal over here. Question was how was the blue paint? Honestly, says the juror, the alternate here. Honestly, my head was spinning. I thought it was a joke. I couldn't believe a forensic expert would do something so silly. All it did was demonstrate that if you intentionally put your bare skin against wet paint, the paint will transfer to your skin. I about died when I read that. Wow. I don't know how anyone could think that was smart. That was a smart thing for the prosecution to show. Remember, guys, if you come in and you talk like about another channel, it's our rule here that we don't talk about other channels, and your comment will be deleted at first, and then if you continue to do it, then that's when we block. We block you for the day. We tell you to come back in 24 hours once you let your dick dry. So the wet paint and the blue paint didn't work out over here. What was wrong with this case? Okay. The answer is there were some glaring holes for the prosecution. To name just a few. Number one, Hank kept portraying Karen Reed's statements at the scene as an admission, but that doesn't add up. If Karen Reed admitted to killing a cop, why didn't any of the cops that were there on scene arrest her or even detain and question her or put it in their reports? There's an officer down and there's a woman yelling her admissions for emergency responders to hear, but by coincidence, not a single cop heard it or thought to write it down. That's odd, right? What a fucking boom boom. You know what I mean? Number two, what's wrong with this case is that no consistent explanation for injuries. No medical doctors would say that a car was involved. If he was on the lawn from 12:30 to 6 a.m., where was the frostbite? The state just ignored this. Why? I'm not a true crime guy, so we know now that Juror 17 is a guy. I don't know about other murder trials, but maybe you do, John. Is it normal for the state to charge someone with murder when their own medical examiner, that goes against what Baldy just said there, when their own medical examiner can't or won't call it a homicide? Remember I told you guys that was the nuts? Is it normal for the state to not call the main detective? Now consider, is it normal for both of those things to happen in a murder trial? Common sense would suggest no way. So that's massive doubt. Hank, how you like me now? What a bunch of fucking morons. I mean, not the jurors, but like the prosecution. Like, basically the prosecution protected. This is what ended up happening is if you truly think about it, it was like Hank Brennan came in and protected certain people versus to prosecute Karen Reed. That's kind of interesting, right? What did the defense do well? Well, according to Juror 17, who was an alternate, the defense did a good job of establishing reasonable doubt. Right? Like, I mean, just talk about like a simple sentence there. The defense did a good job of establishing reasonable doubt, especially with Trooper Buchanan. He was so defensive. I kept asking myself, why are the police so defensive or evasive in this situation? And not just Buchanan, period. I wonder if there was more that he wrote and that John DePepe left it out. Can't wait to talk to Juror 17 more. Who were good witnesses? Well, let's see. The scientists from ARCA were convincing. And when they were cross-examined, they didn't get defensive or snippy. I thought that was huge. That was so noticeable that every defense witness didn't act like how the prosecution witnesses acted. Like, it was just like, I get where you could be defensive about your work because it's your work because you take pride in it, you know? But if you hired me to literally say, hey, Lana, what happened with this phone? Or here's a Cellbrite. Tell me what you find in this motherfucking thing, okay? And that's all. I don't want you, I just want you to ask me to do that. And that way, like, let me report back to you on that. Which gives me here all of it, like whatever I find that I think is interesting, and I can say, okay, well, give me a little synopsis here on just what dates are, like, somebody was murdered. Okay, what's the date on that? Okay, what's their name? Who they're married to? Who are they friends with? You know, maybe some background there. But I don't want you to tell me what you think. All right. Because that becomes confirmation bias. All right. So I thought this was great when I hear this, which is Brian Lucky Loughran was maybe the most convincing, at least for me. I was born in Norwood when JFK was president and have lived in Massachusetts my whole life. I've shoveled more driveways than I care to remember. Ha ha ha. If there was a body laying on an inch or two of snow just off the road, there's no way the plow driver would miss it. Unless the plow guy was drunk or had skipped his route. Awesome, right? So Ronnie's over there saying that Lucky wasn't believable, right? And then here this guy's like, dude, he was the most convincing. Like, and I think his background had a lot to do with why he was convincing, because he knew these people. Like, if anything, he has a reason not to, like, say what he's saying to protect these fucking people. Who were bad witnesses? Well, number one is Jen McCabe. Too many things didn't make sense. Especially, she forgot who she called when those other agents asked her. Carrie Roberts was number two. So one was Jen McCabe, two was Carrie Roberts. Carrie Roberts, she kind of admitted to lying at the grand jury. She said she didn't do it on purpose, but still, it made me wonder, why is the state calling someone who lied at the grand jury? This person is just matter of fact, you know, like, just so matter of fucking fact. And then number three, he goes basically and says three women. So that's interesting. Is he a sexist or what? The third person is the Boston cop, Dever. She didn't want to answer anything. Ha ha ha. It's kind of funny in hindsight, but at the time it made me think, why is a police woman so reluctant to say whether or not there were cameras at her police station? Right? What a clown. Dever. Miss Dever. How were the Karen clips to you? Well, I didn't give them much weight. The police didn't do anything with her contemporaneously statements that morning. So what would years later mean anything, in my opinion? So fucking true. Remember I said, if they pay attention to the dates of those clips, 2023, 2024, okay? It's just great. I just thought that was great, you know, like, ding ding ding. You guys didn't seem to care what the fuck she said at the time, but now you want us to care about what she said fucking 2 or 3 years later. Like, okay. Just matter of fact. Just logic. Dude, logic. Next question. How do you think John died? I don't know why everybody's asking this question. I think it's a worthless question because I don't care how you think John died. You want to know what's a better question? You know what's a better question is since you guys voted not guilty, what would you have needed to see for you to vote guilty? That's the better question. Not who do you think or how do you think John died or who killed John? Are you out of your fucking mind? No. Okay. So since you guys voted not guilty, right? I think a good question is did you vote not guilty because of reasonable doubt? Did you vote not guilty because, you know, she's factually innocent? Like, you can maybe ask that, but better question is in order to convict Karen Read, what would you have needed to see? What were you expecting to see? What would have, you know, tipped the scale or made it so that you couldn't vote not guilty? I'm just saying, like, I don't know, maybe the taillight should look the same as it did. You know, like, wouldn't that be a good, you know, question to ask? Like, the Commonwealth arrests this woman and gives her murder. Well, I can tell you the first thing that I was expecting. I was not expecting to hear that Hank Brennan comes out the gate and says, we have like basically a theory. We have a good idea of what happened, but we don't really know what happened. But yeah. So this is what this juror says. How do you think John died? Well, this juror says, I don't know. Duh. Like, that's what everybody would say. I don't know. But what I do know is that the state could not back up their theory. Totally, right? Just like, dude, it's just like they can't back up their theory. For heck's sake, Hank even said something like, in quotes, we don't know what happened, but we have a good idea. He's like, I wrote that down at the time. I thought, yikes, we have a good idea, question mark. The state needs more than a good idea to convict for murder, right? That was an ocean of reasonable doubt to me. His opening statement. You can't make this shit up. Like, what the fuck? Next. None of the injuries added up with the state's suggestions. If he had been drilled, in caps, by the car, he should have had more injuries. If he was just clipped and spun around and stumbled and fell on the lawn, then he wouldn't have fallen hard enough to crack his head open. They never reconciled that for me. They seem to just leave it open. Like, maybe it was a combo of those strikes. And then there's the marks on his arm. To me, it's extremely unlikely that you could get such parallel lines in the chaos of a shattered taillight. But most of all, how could there be no trace of John on any of the pieces? Dozens of taillight pieces, scratches, gouges to the skin, yet not a single taillight piece had any human material on it. That's just more doubt. It honestly is. Give it up for Juror 17. Awesome. Oh, God. At Octavia, Atlanta asking what we would need to see in order to find Karen guilty. Bad joke. What would you need? I mean, what would you need? I don't know. Maybe the goddamn Ring camera from across the street of her fucking ramming that motherfucker. How about that? That's what it would have taken with what the state presented. I would have needed to see her actually plow the bastard. Okay. He's not a bastard, you guys know. Anyways. Again, congratulations to all the new members. Layla, thank you so much. 24 months. Thank you, Lana. Happy Friday. Happy Friday back. Layla, $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Jackie, is that say Bushable? I push my bush. Okay, girl. Member for 16 months, Jackie Bushable. I like it. All right, girl. Bush on. All right. Yes. I'm gonna close out with my girl here. I want to know why people are going at my girl Paula. Okay. Share Bear has been a member for 23 months. Girl. This is for all the members. You know, woo. Everybody just needs to leave her alone. Like, leave my girl Share Bear. I mean, my girl Paula alone, baby. Paula, baby.
Now to an ABC News exclusive with a juror from the Karen Read retrial, explaining why she voted to acquit Read. She spoke with our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, who joined us from Dedham, Massachusetts. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. That juror taking us right inside that jury room, and she said it wasn't a single piece of evidence that convinced her to try to acquit Karen Read. It was the totality of what she said was the sloppy investigative work that she said made it impossible for the prosecution to prove that Karen Read hit John O'Keefe with her SUV or that there was even any collision at all.
Okay.
This morning, after that verdict heard around the country,
Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
a juror explaining why she voted to acquit Karen Read of that second-degree murder charge for allegedly ramming her SUV into John O'Keefe during a blizzard in 2022.
A collision did not occur. I can't assess the motive to this sloppy police investigation.
And the toughest moment for her?
I just wanted to hear that. I have no idea the motive on why this would be such a sloppy police investigation. I can't assess a motive to this sloppy police investigation. You know.
Just make me think, what else, what other cases could be judged like this?
Tonight, another juror breaks her silence.
What broke her heart the moment the verdict was announced? Plus.
They were by her side every step of the way. Tonight, Karen Read's parents weighing in on what happened and what's next.
Her name. I know she had.
Spoke with our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell.
What did you know about the Karen Read case before you started hearing evidence?
I know she had a billboard on Route 1. Every time I go grocery shop, I see free Karen Read. That's all I knew about her and her name. I also saw some lounge that had signs free Karen Read, but didn't strike me to go search and understand what it was. So I had no clue what crime or what she did, who she was, who John was, nothing.
Who do you think did a good job on the defense side and for making the case, and who do you think didn't help or made it worse?
Dr. La Posada, for me, was very good in the ARCA witness. I now know that they didn't want us to hear the ARCA professionals. They made it just clear and easy for a regular person like me to understand what really happened with.
Okay. So people are saying because she's talking like after she's done some research, she realized that, okay, wow, they didn't want us to hear from the ARCA people. Okay. She's not saying that she knew that during the trial. She's saying that she knows that now. I'm telling you, if I could take this woman and her 4 kids with me to California for a week, and give them the vacation that they deserve, with the kids, you could play with my kid and we can just sit here and I'll bring out all of my evidence that I have. I'll package it up and ship it on out there and to go through it because I have basically almost like a ton of shit and to talk about the case and to walk me through the different days because I have all my notebooks because they had to burn their shit, but I have it all. And I would just love to, because it's so fresh in her brain, it would recollect things really quick. Like, oh yeah, when he said this is what I thought. Oh wait, when that person said that, this is what I thought. Like to be able to talk to her like as soon as possible and to show her all the shit that I have. Like, I just think it would really be remarkable because I think that she would be really quick to say, oh, this, and oh, this. Like, I just think it'd be awesome. So Paula, if you're out there, we really love you over here. We love your bravery because you put your first and last name out there. You came out right away And you said it right. You're like, I want this momentum to go and get the real killers for John O'Keefe.
Data with the videos, with the dummy, what the weight of the dummy. That discussion was so unnecessary.
How was your reaction to hearing the text messages former Trooper Proctor sent to his friends?
There was some wording that make me feel disgusted and upset. It's not that you don't have the same reaction if it was him reading. It's like just like Karen Reed and Brian Higgins text message. If it was him reading or her, it's not about who is reading, it's about the content. Okay, at that point when that friend came and read all the text messages, we already knew that Michael Proctor was a police officer who was fired, who was being accused of corruption or framed Karen Reed, whatever. So we already expect that something bad would come from this guy. So that's why I think you didn't see a shocking expression on our faces.
Talk to me about the reaction when the...
Yeah, because that came out in opening statements, okay? Everything that that she's saying here is like she was following it. She like gets it. You know what I mean? Alan Jackson said all this stuff in opening statements. So if you know Paula, tell Paula, like, we love Paula over here, and just thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for your bravery. And anybody going at her, dude, if I was her neighbor, I'd plow your motherfucking dicks. All right? You go at that broad, I will blast your fucking ass. If I was her neighbor, I'd blast these motherfuckers. Fucking talking about fucking the PP, fucking talking about that she's an illegal. Man, fuck you, to PP. You don't even have the balls to debate somebody. You have to go on court TV where you're like fucking, Vinny, save me, Vinny. Yeah, I bet Vinny will plug it up your fucking ass.
Verdict was read and the crowd outside screamed and cheered.
To be honest with you, I don't remember what happened in that courtroom that day, that moment, because once I heard the people outside, I just closed my eyes and I started crying, and I left the courtroom without looking to anyone. I did not expect to hear it, because through the whole trial, we didn't hear anything on a jury room. We did not saw many people outside because we come from the back of the courthouse. So we would see someone walk with a pink shirt here and there, but that was it. Never hear chanting or comments or laughing or yelling or booing, nothing. And it's particular to me when I heard that people screaming out of happiness. At the same time, I was seeing John O'Keefe's family crying out of sadness, and that broke my heart. So that moment, I kind of understood how big this case was and how we're making someone happy, and we're making a lot of other people sad too. So I don't remember what happened in the courtroom that moment. I just closed my eyes and cried.
That's
Sue is
that's
back
so
with us
like,
tonight, along with defense attorney Morgia Durcier.
like,
Sue,
that should
what's
just show you like her innocence, man. She's just so like, just it's her reaction, her just talking from her, in here. Like, I just closed my eyes and I cried because they're cheering for her, and yet the family, like, man, I cried for them, but it's not Karen Reed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Karen Reed is, I'm sorry, I don't care what these people have to say. Look at, okay, there we go. Back to her. All we care about is her.
Fascinating, even shocking. Turns out Paula felt the same way.
Paula.
Officer Dever was scary, to say the least. She sold vibe of being...
Look at... But see, this is the editing shit that I just don't, I can't get down with, man. She's actually, Paula's going on supposedly Turtle Boy on Sunday, but watch this. Watch this.
Officer Dever was scary, to say the least.
Right there. Like, and then just like, okay, then you cut it, and then here you go. And we don't know how she said, like, if this was 15 minutes later. Like, I just don't. She's saying Dever is scary because that bitch is a puppet. What do you want me to do, boss? Oh, you're gonna pay me an extra 86,000? Yeah, who do you want me to blow? Do I gotta go for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What do I gotta do? Hands behind Look, ma, no hands. What do you want, baby?
He sold a vibe of being so desperate and angry to everyone, like a child complaining and fighting with their mom. I mean, I just feel like unsafe to have a person with that level of immaturity carrying a gun among us.
Oh my God!
Deborah took the stand on June 2nd, you might remember.
Holy shit, I didn't know that she said that. Fuck yeah, Paula. God, can you imagine if Paula was a witness? I mean, a juror in trial 1.0? Oh my God. I love it. 3 weeks and dude. I didn't watch the Yannetti and Alessi interview. Please tell me that they asked them questions about the juror voir dire, because this is how you got these people, okay? What did you guys do in order to get this group of people to be your jurors? Okay, these people are fucking awesome, man. Okay, like, I mean, I want to know how you guys went about it. I think a lot of people could benefit. Like, come on, the people that are indigent, the people that can't afford what Karen Reed had, man. What'd you guys do? Share. Hope Lana can get Liza Little for an interview. Both of them are great researchers, and I'm sure they would be bonding from the get-go. Liza's good people.
Remember, she was a defense witness. At the time of Reed's arrest, she worked as a police officer in Canton. On the stand, she was resistant, almost hostile at times, and often answered with long silences. She even said she didn't know why she was called to testify in the first place.
You've never talked to me. Nobody on the fence seems to talk to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
This witness.
Leave him out.
Okay, but you're kind of trying to put her in the courtroom. That's what you want to be. Remember,
I thought this was supposed to be an interview with this girl. Okay, why wouldn't it just be her in a sit down? Like, what are you guys doing, man?
I'm like making a fist, and he was.
And she did notice something.
Sometimes I could see him like making a fist, and he was really uncomfortable with some questions. Felt to me that he was very protective of his job and his colleagues. He's probably like a good representative of the blue wall.
Oh, okay, the blue wall, and then you cut her off. Do you see how they cut her off? Dude, mainstream media, you guys are just so fucking predictable. And then here, this is what happens. Somebody like her was like, hey, I can give one of the days of my life. I gave 3 months to the Commonwealth. Okay, I can give 1 day to the media. And this is why people will be like, okay, like, I'm not doing an interview with mainstream media. So they can what? Clip, cut, edit, put your shit however they want to fucking push her. Why would you cut her right there? She basically tells you that, hey, there is a full interview of Paul. This is not it. Oh, okay, great. Thank God. Is it not clipped? Do they let her speak? Because she's about to go at the fucking blue wall. As everybody was like, hey, we're all white today. Like, I see this little, oh, here we go.
Already fired, and everybody mind not.
Well, that's something Paula noticed, but didn't mind.
I didn't mind not seeing him because he was already fired, and everybody else did a good job of bringing his role in investigation to us.
Good job.
This one is really interesting, Sue, because so many
higher department. In case you missed it in last night's Dateline, it focused on the Karen Reed case. They spoke with Proctor, who you see there, who says he wants his job back. What do you think, Morgiana?
I think he should have an attorney just on retainer, because this is something that's definitely not going to be going away. And I'm sure as he's doing these interviews, he's getting advice from legal counsel. But I mean, if he is going to try to get back his job, it's going to be really difficult, because
he's not getting his job back. But sounds good. Go get it. Go try to get it, son.
Go back to where we were prior to January 29th, 2022.
The events of the past few days have finally sunk in. The legal war they waged and helped finance on behalf of their daughter, Karen Reed, starting to become a memory.
Whatever you didn't think could happen, happened. Like every day somebody go,
what's going on? This is crazy. I've never seen that in a case before. Those were things, it was always like a shock.
Oh, it's so nice to see them dressed down, every single day, just dressed to the nines, it's just so nice to see them so comfortable. Like that right there makes my heart, like, I'm so happy for them to be able to be like, oh, I can just be in, my comfy clothes again. Every single day, and I say dress to the nines, whatever. It's just, that's just got to be so awesome for them to. I'm just going to be in my little ball cap. I'm going to be in my little, jump outfit. I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for them. Really happy.
It never went smooth.
But one thing is certain, they say. They are filled with gratitude for the outcome of Reed's second trial for sure.
Look at that, man. All the cards that people sent them.
But also for those they met along the way.
We always say after we've met a lot of people that we don't know if we could do what they did for us. But now I think I could, because I know what it meant to us, and if I could do that for somebody else.
Also remembered, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, who died on January 29, 2022. At the time, O'Keefe and Reed were dating. Reed's acquittal on charges related to his death only leading to more questions about what happened. O'Keefe's family declining to speak on Thursday when an NBC 10 reporter stopped by, saying there will be a time for that. The time, just not now. Reed's family also, there will be a time.
Look at that Bud Light Lime. Was he a Bud Light Lime drinker? Interesting. I think that's so weird that would be there, considering this surrounds drinking and driving in a way, or surrounds drinking, because I believe if none of those people were drinking that night, John O'Keefe would still be alive. Who the fuck put a Bud Light on his fucking, that's fucked up, man.
For that. The time, just not now. Reed's family also trying to ensure some good comes out of the toll of the last 3 years.
To avoid this happening to your loved one, your significant person in your life, and it can happen to anyone, take back your government. Get out.
Thank you. Take back your government. That is what truth and transparency is all about, man. When people say to me, like, Anna, do you really believe that person's innocent? Or do you really? I'm like, dude, we're all innocent. We're accused of something. That doesn't mean shit. I've been accused of things that I've fucking... Are you kidding me? No. We are innocent until proven guilty. And if we don't make the government prove that shit and hold them accountable for what the fuck they say that they did have, whatever, blah, blah, like, come on. If the Innocence Project didn't prove it enough to people, if Karen Reed didn't have money and didn't have a family that had some money, okay, and if Karen Reed was black, this wouldn't be the outcome. I hope everybody knows that. And I know that the Reeds know that. I hope Karen goes on to help people because she could start a foundation, and I'm telling you, she could help people. Because there's so many Karen Reeds out there. So many, and it's daily.
Out there and vote. That's your power. Don't let there be another Karen Reed down the road.
And they went on to say their daughter, Karen Reed, remains in a hotel room up in Boston trying to figure out what's next. And if that what's next includes remaining here in New England.
I don't think she's going to stay.
Everything that has happened. In Canton, Eli Rosenberg.
I think Karen Reed's going to LA. So you'll hear it here first. I think Karen is going to go work for Alan Jackson. I think Karen Reed's getting the fuck out of Boston. I do. I think Karen Reed is leaving.
NBC 10 Boston.
Back with us now is Morgietta and Sue. We know this case cannot be tried again, but it also leads to lingering questions for those who believe that Karen Read is innocent. Then can it be reopened? Can they look for new evidence so that they could try to find an answer to this?
That's an absolute no. If I were the district attorney in Norfolk County, I would let this one go for a couple of reasons. Number one, you already spent almost $2 million, I think I heard, retrying and trying.
Dude, it's way more than that. It's way more than that. If Karen Read spent what she spent.
The first trial. And secondly, any good lawyer who gets a client who is now being charged with all the overwhelming evidence in the first two trials is going to have a really, really streamlined job showing that there was somebody else that was tried and charged and the Commonwealth lost twice. So you really have to just cut your losses with this one. And it's sad because the O'Keefe family honestly may never know what happened to their loved one, but I think it's a hard no to try to get more evidence.
And all the same problems exist, right? If they get new evidence.
I agree with that. See, like, that's the better argument right there. And I've been saying this since day one. I don't care who you charge for the murder or the death, the account, if who you're trying to put the accountability on, responsibility on for the death of John O'Keefe, you are never going to convict because they're going to be faced with the same issues that Karen Read's, jurors were faced, which was the investigation is so flawed that you can't convict anybody. You can't even convict, like, people want to say, like, the Alberts and stuff like that. There would have to be something that's out there that nobody knows about that came into it, like Matt McCabe's phone records. Like, I'm just saying that you're not going to be able to convict anybody for this homicide. And I've been saying that since day one. I said Karen Read is not going down for this. Nobody is going down for this because of the investigation. No jury should convict anybody off of the evidence. And so if that means that the McCabe's and the Alberts and the Higgins of the world walk, that's what it means. Because we should be living in a country that we'd rather see a guilty person go free than an innocent person go to prison. And the only people that you would ever have to blame for that is the law enforcement personnel. Period. That's not my fault. That's not your guys' fault. That's not the jury's fault. The convictions come from the investigators and the prosecutors and the case that they put together. All the pressure remains there.
Evidence, if they have someone who comes forward and admits something, they still have the problems with the investigation in the first days of the case. So let's say they arrest John Smith and they charge John Smith, and John Smith's lawyer goes, well, they didn't go in the house. Right. There's just nowhere to go with this, and it's a tragedy.
To put it mildly, District Attorney Morrissey is going to have a difficult re-election. Is there any way he can...
See, I can't even believe that you're going to bring that up. That you're going to even admit on national television that you're going to talk about re-election, about somebody being reelected. He's going to have a hard time being reelected. Somebody even saying that should tell everybody what then that position's all about. Like mainstream media is just so contradictory. It's just ridiculous.
Decided to move forward with a second trial against Karen Read.
His lack of transparency has completely...
No comment from the Norfolk County DA on Read's verdict. Like, what a fat pussy. God, I wonder when the last time he saw his dick was.
Undermined the community's trust.
That's one of the main...
Who washes his dick and balls, man?
Reasons Juna Perkins is making a run for Norfolk County DA. Perkins, a former prosecutor and trial attorney of 30 years who lives a mile from the courthouse in Dedham, called it unethical to continue pursuing murder charges and not learn any lessons from the first trial.
I think the worst thing about this case and what the district attorney's office did is that it told the family of John O'Keefe that they could expect a murder conviction. Giving them false hope may put them through this experience that is emotionally devastating.
Craig McClellan.
What a great way to say it. Who's this broad? She's already got my vote. You know? Because that's what Ann Taylor said the other night when she wrote up her little, motion to those fucking idiots down there. She said, the families can only be blaming the people that have been telling them that this trial in Idaho would be ready to go in a year or two, why are you guys giving these families false hope? And she's this broad's so right. Whoever this is, I haven't done any research on who's going to run against and what the politics are in that town. I don't get involved with politics. Politics can fucking kiss my ass. That's the problem. Anytime you want to label something as a problem to me, that's the problem. That's like you're asking for division versus inclusion and just like, hey, like think about it. Back in high school, when people were like, okay, it's homecoming queen, here's the voting, right? You didn't have to say that you were you didn't make up you just voted, right? There was no this person falls into this category, so they make up the nerds. And so here, this is a representative of the nerds. Then here, this is the broad that's the representative of the jocks. And then here's a representative of, the whites and then the black. I mean, come on. Like, what the fuck? It was just, here's the people that are running for homecoming queen. And then here's the people that are running for homecoming king, right? And you didn't represent a crowd in order to, it's just mind blowing. Like, fuck your labels, man. Can you imagine if there was no such thing as Democrats or Republicans and it was, hey, vote for who you're voting for? I mean, think about that. You'd be shocked if you take away labels. You would never even know. Vote on what people and how they fall on the issues, not, oh, I'm voting red all the way across my ticket and I'm voting blue all across my ticket. Fuck all that. It's so stupid. But guess what? There's a reason for it.
Is also challenging Morrissey for the DA's seat. What is your reaction to that silence?
He is inaccessible and invisible. And as I've said before, it's just never going to lead to good government. So the fact that he's essentially in hiding right now is completely unacceptable.
McClellan, a former prosecutor.
So hiding, not transparent, and these people are going to pounce on the opportunity to run this man into the ground for this. So that's just a political play. You know what I mean? So.
And now a criminal defense attorney in Cohasset says Morrissey should explain to taxpayers why.
I love that both of these two people are their criminal defense attorneys, like this guy is, and what was she?
He decided to bring in special prosecutor Hank Brennan for the second trial. As the NBC 10 investigators reported, financial records show Brennan stands to make more than $500,000 in compensation for the case. When McClellan points out there are already veteran prosecutors paid six-figure salaries in the DA's office.
To me, it didn't make a great
Can you believe that?
deal of fiscal sense, and it's cost the taxpayers a huge amount of money. And I don't see the wisdom in it.
What was your reaction to seeing some of the results?
I thought the results in here were astounding.
On the night of the verdict, Brian Wynn of Opinion Diagnostics sent out a survey by text to thousands of eligible jurors in Norfolk County. Out of the roughly 1,100 responses, this was the most staggering result. Only 4% of those people answered that Morrissey deserves to be reelected.
That is how we're going to leave it tonight. You're going to hear more from me tomorrow about Paula and the other jurors. We got something in the works over here. I'm going to cover all the interviews that have taken place. I like some of the stuff that Bob Alessi's daughter, Laura, said from earlier today. I want to review over what I haven't even got a chance. I'm looking forward to watching Yannetti and Babalesi on Uncle with the Bailey Show. What is it? Who else? I think Tim Bradle spoke out. I think if I was Turtle Boy, I would definitely be paying attention to the fact that none of the witnesses testified in Trial 2.0 and making sure that they can't possibly use that against him for witness intimidation. So I hope that he and his lawyers are taking a really hard look at the fact that Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts, but a lot of the witnesses that he is alleged to have witness intimidated did not testify in Trial 2, and don't think for a second that they may not try to use that against Turtle Boy. And so I hope that he's considering that. Farewell.
Falling shall I stay? Would it be without you? Falling
with crew.